The Planned Buying Process by Diamond Burke for FCS 302. Introduction. As consumers, either single or those with families, we are always making different purchases in our lifetime. Some are major investments, such as a new home or a new vehicle. Others are just everyday essential purchases or simply splurging here and there. One way or another, we may face some hard decisions when it comes to making these purchases. Problems can arise, however, when consumers are not smart with how they invest their money and financial expenses. When choosing a product, consumers consider a variety of factors before settling on their choice. For instance, some factors that may be considered when choosing a specific product would be safety, price, and durability. The planned buying process is one of the main topics that will be discussed throughout this presentation, which is what is used to aid consumers with their buying decisions, whether they are big or small purchases. Planned buying. Planned buying involves defining a purchasing problem, identifying personal needs and wants in the context of personal goals and values, identifying alternatives, comparing choices, negotiating, selecting the best alternative, and accepting and evaluating the action. Planned buying is a way for consumers to get the best deal possible, especially when it comes to purchasing expensive products. General buying behaviors of consumers. Consumers generally use one or more of three buying behaviors. 1. Habit buying. 2. Impulse buying. And 3. Conspicuous consumption. First, we'll talk about habit buying. Habit buying means that many purchases are made on the basis of habit, including purchases associated with for customs and ceremonies. Consumers get into the habit of purchasing certain products. For example, one brand of shoes, one particular model of automobile, or eating at the same restaurant. Next, we'll go on to impulse buying. Impulse buying is unplanned, spur-of-the-moment buying of unnecessary products and services. Merchants use tactics to exploit impulse buying behavior by displaying inexpensive items near checkout lines and developing special signs and displays to encourage spending. Now we'll talk about conspicuous consumption. Conspicuous consumption is a person's desire to consume goods and services more for their ability to impress others and demonstrate social status than for their intrinsic value. This type of buying behavior often leads to overspending, as families and individuals spend money to demonstrate their self-worth to themselves and to society. Conspicuous consumption is fed by emulation and the media, so consumers want to replace old goods before they wear out and buy new things, whether they are needed or not. This type of spending and buying behavior leads people to buy things in an effort to try to keep up with the Joneses or keep up with people they only know from the internet and media. Planned buying for important purchases. Planned buying is a rational decision-making process of buying goods and services where one analytically determines which alternative is a priority by examining the marginal costs and benefits involved. Consumers who make planned, rational buying decisions reduce the uncertainty and risk associated with purchases. The planned buying process occurs most often with high involvement goods, which are those whose characteristics include high purchase costs, high ongoing operation and maintenance costs, and technological complexity. The planned buying decision-making model. Below is the basic decision-making model of planned buying. Step 1. Define the problem. Step 2. Identify your needs and wants. Step 3. Identify the possible alternatives. Step 4. Compare the choices. Step 5. Negotiate. Step 6. Select the best alternative. And Step 7. Accept and evaluate your action. Step 1. Define the problem. Clearly identify the problem. Ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish? Understanding the main issues in making the decision helps you clearly define the problem in terms of your personal values. For example, if you want to purchase a new vehicle, ask yourself, why? And be honest. Step 2. Identify your needs and wants. Establish priorities between your needs and your wants. Ask yourself, will this fit my budget? Determine whether you can satisfy all needs and wants, or satisfy all your needs and only some of your wants. Step 3. Identify the possible alternatives. Collect information and learn about the topic. Make sure to gather information on the criteria and the product characteristics that are important in evaluating a product or service. Make sure to obtain ample information to increase likelihood of making a good decision and the best decision. In pre-shopping, research, spend time on the internet, go to the library, and also visit stores to collect information in person. Step 4. Compare the choices. Make sure to examine each and every one of your alternatives. Evaluation is the activity of identifying alternative solution to a problem and determining the relative merits of each. Comparison shopping is a big part in this step. This is where consumers decide which evaluative criteria and product characteristics are most important. Some examples of criteria often considered important in planned buying are safety, convenience, performance, price, privacy, efficiency, maintenance, warranty, and many others. Step 5. Negotiate. The process of conferring with a seller in order to come to terms and reach an agreement on price, as well as other aspects of the deal, is negotiating. Usually, consumers are hesitant to bargain and haggle when purchasing appliances, electronic goods, and vehicles. But sellers expect to bargain on price. Offers and counteroffers will occur until there is an agreement on the final terms. Step 6. Select the best alternatives. Decide which products or services are best for you, given your needs and your wants. This step allows you to rank the preferences for choice. Step 7. Accept and evaluate your actions. Here, the rational consumer reflects on important decisions after a period of weeks or months. Reaffirm the wisdom of utilizing the process that resulted in your decision and use any valuable recollections in future decision-making opportunities. Sources of buying information for consumers. Consumers have a variety of sources of buying information. This useful information may come from past buying experiences as well as friends and relatives. Also, a lot of information is available through advertising, but most of it is biased and aimed at persuading the consumer to spend their money. Sufficient buying information is what helps consumers to make effective decisions with their purchases. Objective information is another way to help consumers make important purchasing decisions. Objective information is knowledge that is presented in a factual and objective manner, is accurate, complete, understandable, and up to date. Consumers need a total of 2 types of objective information. One of them is information to determine what evaluative criteria others believe are important when making a selection. And then the second is how much importance they personally should give to each criterion. Consumer Reports Magazine. Consumers Union publishes Consumer Reports Magazine, or CR, the single most sought-after source for objective and reliable buying data. This magazine tries to do what an average consumer would do when evaluating products. First, CR establishes the evaluative criteria used in rating each product along with an explanation of their importance. Second, CR puts a certain weight on each of the evaluative criteria considered. Consumer Reports also classify product into 3 categories: acceptable, conditionally acceptable, and not acceptable. These products in each category are listed in the magazine in descending order of estimated overall quality. Consumers generally only want to purchase items that are rated acceptable because the other 2 ratings are quite negative. Products are rated not acceptable when there is some type of safety hazard. For instance, maybe an automobile turning over too easily during road testing would be rated not acceptable. Other sources. There are many other sources that help consumers get a better understanding of specific items of interest, where they can find other important and a variety of information to help with their decision-making purchases. Some of these other sourcing include special interest magazines, such as Better Homes and Gardens, Golf Digest, Car and Driver, Money, Automobile Mechanics, and many more. Topics like skiing, photography, boating, golf, personal finance will be found in these special interest magazines. The internet is an also good source to use. The internet provides loads of useful information and enhances consumers' ability to search, shop, and find information. Safety seals are certifications of approval by independent testing organizations given to products that meet their minimum standards of safety and performance. Magazine seals such as Good Housekeeping and Parents are certifications of approval given to products and services that, in the judgment of the organization, meet whatever standards the organization has established. Another great source to use would be Better Business Bureaus, or BBBs. These provide helpful information about sellers, not products. The BBB tells callers the number of years they have maintained files on a seller, whether or not they have received recent complaints about the firm, and the nature of those complaints, whether or not the seller has responded to any complaints forwarded by the BBB, and the disposition of those complaints, recent government actions against the firms, and information about any questionable advertising and selling practices used by these specific sellers. Point of purchase information is the practical and technical knowledge printed on the package or product label or displayed nearby that discloses, instructs, or warns consumers about products for sale. This information is readily available information, which is designed to help the customer make a decision. Conclusion. As consumers, we are always making purchases throughout our lifetime, whether we are single or have families of our own. Some purchases may be bigger than others, and more important, the planned buying process helps consumers go through each step carefully in order to make rational, smart purchase decisions. There are a variety of sources in which consumers can research on different products to gain important and objective information on the items they want to invest in. It is important for consumers to use the planned buying process in order to make the best, most rational purchases in their lifetime, whether it be big and major purchases or small purchases.